Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to me today.
That's okay.
Come down. For those who don't know, could you maybe give us a little bit about Luna, the story and setting?
It's Luna is a drama. It's set on the North Devon coast in an isolated house owned by a couple. It's set over a weekend, one long weekend, with two couples getting together. The visiting couple lost a baby. Their emotions are very raw. And lots of old skeletons come out of the closet over the weekend, and it gets very turbulent as the ocean comes in. And the life of the child that died is sort of lived out in a series of strange dreams and hallucinations over the weekend.
Where do the inspirations lie for this project?
The inspiration was real life, really. It happened to a couple friends of mine 20 years ago. Actually 21 years ago. I know it was 21 years ago because it happened a week before my daughter was born. So that added to the intensity of it. And so the film really is about my relationship with the other man, old school friend of mine, and going through the grieving process and my observations of that and my need to sort of put something down on paper to get it out of my head to try and deal with this sort of very sad event that happened in some way.
And we get a lovely insight into a creative world, as we got a blend of sort of real footage and animation. And I was wondering, for you, where do you start with creating the other world, and how do you come about that?
It's really just how I see things. I work as an illustrator and an artist, and as well as make films occasionally. I moonlight making films, really. So that sort of metaphorical way of seeing things is just the way I tend to deal with interesting subjects. And I'm just interested in the way our brains work, the way our minds work. We're all very aware of what we think of as the real world, which is happening right this very moment now. This is very real now, this little moment. But everything around it, what happened an hour ago, what will happen an hour in the future, what you are now thinking about now, the way your brain is interpreting what I'm saying and it's ricocheting off your preconceptions, and all of that is a sort of ball of fantasy around it. But there's a little locus of reality in the middle. So I'm just interested in that relation, really.
And through you say film is almost an extra thing, and
It's becoming less of an extra thing. I am trying to get good at it, but I don't do it all the time. I don't rely on it as a living. It's something occasionally I get a chance to explore. Most of the time I draw pictures of things.
And so why would you say you chose film to present Luna, this story?
Well, I miss the sound. I miss the music. I love doing comics and I love doing illustrated books and gallery exhibitions and things like that. But I really miss the music. And I've always played music and composed occasionally. And this story came with a soundtrack. I wrote the script listening to a very particular kind of music, an instrument called an oud. And I found a wonderful player called Anwar Brahim, and then another guy called Dafa Yusuf. And I wrote the whole script listening to this music because it just seemed to conjure up the mood. And then I couldn't really imagine telling the story without the music, so it had to be a film.
And so for Luna, with the design and of course your illustrations of all the mystical creatures that are in it, do you how does that work? Do you have hundreds of sort of sketches of creatures or designs that you didn't use, or is it all a very set idea from when you first go in?
The images just seem to come very naturally. I try not to fight them or question them too much. They just seem to appear that way. The images in this film seem to be related to the animal inside us, the sort of raw emotion inside us.
And so what would you say is next for you? Are you going to stick with film, or are you just going to wait and see what inspires you?
I like doing everything, really, and they all speak to each other. If I haven't drawn pictures for a long time because I've been making a film, well, then when I go back to drawing, it's been informed by all of that experience, editing film and working with actors, and it all goes into the drawing, and vice versa. They do tend to feed each other.